Are you tired of letting external opinions dictate your peace? Imagine a mind so resilient, criticism simply bounces off, fueling your ascent instead of crushing your spirit. When the sharp sting of a critical remark lands, our immediate primal instinct is often to recoil, to defend, or to internalize it as a direct assault on our worth. This knee-jerk reaction, however, is precisely where our power is surrendered. The truly unbothered individual, the one who navigates the turbulent waters of public opinion with unwavering calm, understands a profound truth: criticism, at its core, is merely information. It is not a verdict on your inherent value, nor is it necessarily a reflection of ultimate reality. It is simply data, a collection of observations, opinions, or projections delivered from an external source. Consider this shift in perspective. Imagine a scientist receiving the results of an experiment. They don't take the data personally, they analyze it. They look for patterns, anomalies, and insights. They ask, what does this tell me? Is it valid? Is it relevant to my hypothesis? This is the same dispassionate, analytical approach we must cultivate when confronted with criticism. Whether it comes from a mentor, a competitor, a casual observer, or an anonymous voice, the first step is to strip away the emotional packaging and treat it as raw input. This doesn't mean ignoring it or dismissing it outright. Instead, it means engaging with it intellectually, not emotionally. Ask yourself what specific details are being conveyed. Is there a factual basis for the observation? Is the information actionable? Often, the emotional delivery of criticism can obscure any valuable insights it might contain. By consciously reframing it as mere data, you create a necessary buffer, allowing you to sift through the noise and identify any potential signal. This objective analysis prevents the words from lodging themselves in your psyche, where they can fester into self-doubt or resentment. It empowers you to extract any useful components, a suggestion for improvement, a different perspective, a potential blind spot, and discard the rest, much like a skilled craftsman sifts through raw materials, keeping only what serves their purpose. This practice transforms a potential emotional wound into a neutral piece of intelligence, ready for your strategic consideration. Your most powerful possession, the only true territory over which you possess absolute, unquestionable sovereignty, is your own mind. Within its vast expanse lies the ultimate control center for your emotions, your reactions, and ultimately, your destiny. This is a profound truth often overlooked in the relentless pursuit of external validation or the misguided attempt to control the uncontrollable. When you confront the inevitable waves of criticism, the true battle is not waged in the external world, but within the confines of your own consciousness. The power of any external influence, be it a cutting remark or a dismissive gesture, is entirely dependent on the permission you grant it to enter and disrupt your inner peace. To be truly unbothered is to understand and rigorously enforce the boundaries of this inner domain. It means recognizing that while others may hurl opinions or judgments your way, they cannot by any means dictate your emotional state or hijack your focus unless you consciously or unconsciously allow them to do so. This is the essence of mental discipline, actively choosing your response rather than merely reacting. It is the deliberate construction of an impenetrable barrier around your self-worth and your sense of purpose, ensuring that no unwanted external energy can penetrate without your explicit consent. This mental fortitude is not a passive state. It is an active moment-by-moment vigilance. It involves recognizing the subtle ways in which criticism attempts to seep into your thoughts, to trigger self-doubt, or to provoke an emotional outburst. By becoming acutely aware of these incursions, you gain the power to intercept them at the gate of your consciousness. You can choose to analyze them dispassionately as mere data, as we've discussed, or simply to turn them away, recognizing them as irrelevant noise that has no place in your inner sanctuary. Guarding your mind fiercely against external influence is the paramount act of self-preservation and the foundational step toward sustained accomplishment. It ensures that your energy remains directed toward your highest aims, rather than being dissipated in the futile effort to placate every critic or absorb every negative projection. When criticism confronts you, the instinctive impulse is often to either absorb it whole, allowing its weight to settle upon your spirit, or to entirely reject it, dismissing its source outright. Neither of these approaches serves your highest good. The path of the truly unbothered, the professional in the arena of life, is to dissect, not absorb. This involves a deliberate, systematic process of analysis that transcends emotional reaction and focuses solely on utility. It is an act of intellectual surgery, where you meticulously separate the valuable insights from the corrosive emotional residue. Consider the feedback you receive, regardless of its delivery, as a raw, unfiltered communication. Your task is to identify the signal within the noise. This requires a conscious detachment from the messenger's tone, their perceived intent, or your immediate defensive feelings. Ask yourself, is there a specific behavior, action, or outcome being addressed? Can this feedback be verified against objective reality or your own performance? Is it applicable to your goals or your defined purpose? By applying these rigorous questions, you compel your mind to move beyond the emotional charge and engage with the content itself. For example, a harsh critique might be delivered with anger or jealousy, but within that anger, there might be a kernel of truth about a deficiency in your presentation or a flaw in your strategy. Your objective is not to validate the anger, but to extract the information about the presentation. Conversely, a seemingly well-intentioned piece of advice might, upon dissection, prove to be irrelevant to your specific context or simply a projection of the giver's own limitations. The skilled individual learns to differentiate between constructive observation and destructive projection, between valuable insight and mere opinion. The emotional baggage, the envy, the frustration, the misunderstanding that often accompanies criticism must be recognized for what it is: extraneous material that holds no value for your growth. Your responsibility is to discard this residue, to refuse its entry into your mental landscape, thereby preserving your energetic integrity and keeping your focus razor sharp on what truly matters, your progress and your ultimate aims. The true foundation of being unbothered, beyond mere intellectual understanding of criticism, lies in the deliberate and consistent cultivation of an unshakable inner fortitude. This is not about building walls around your emotions. It is about building a core of self-belief so robust that external negativity simply cannot penetrate it. Your self-belief, your unwavering conviction in your purpose, your capabilities, and your intrinsic worth acts as the ultimate impenetrable shield. When this inner fortress is strong, the barbs of criticism, whether sharp or dull, simply glance off, leaving no lasting impression. Consider this fundamental truth: external validation is a fleeting, unreliable source of peace and progress. To hinge your self-worth on the fluctuating opinions of others is to hand them the keys to your emotional well-being. The master of their own destiny understands that true power emanates from within. It is forged in the fires of self-knowledge, through an honest assessment of your strengths and weaknesses, and solidified by an unwavering commitment to your personal vision. When you are deeply anchored in who you are and where you are going, the opinions of others become less significant than the rustling of leaves in the wind. They are merely external sounds, incapable of disturbing the profound calm within your core. This cultivation of inner fortitude is an active, ongoing process. It involves consistently reinforcing your positive self-image, celebrating your small victories, learning from your missteps without dwelling on them, and continually reminding yourself of your definite chief aim. It means consciously choosing thoughts that empower you and diligently filtering out those that diminish your spirit. Every act of self-discipline, every commitment kept to yourself, every step taken in alignment with your authentic purpose adds another brick to this protective citadel. When your self-belief is not dependent on applause or vulnerable to condemnation, you operate from a place of profound inner strength, rendering the often harsh landscape of criticism utterly harmless to your progress and your peace of mind. True mastery over the impact of criticism lies not in becoming impervious to all external input, but in the deliberate practice of strategic detachment. This is a conscious, active choice to maintain an appropriate emotional distance from the feedback you receive, ensuring that your core focus and energetic integrity remain uncompromised. It's not about developing cold indifference. Rather, it's about developing a profound respect for your own mental and emotional resources, recognizing that they are finite and too valuable to be squandered on external noise. Imagine yourself as a skilled architect overseeing the construction of a magnificent edifice. Various opinions and suggestions will inevitably arise from onlookers. Some might be useful, some irrelevant, some even outright malicious. The architect doesn't emotionally absorb every comment, nor do they halt construction in frustration. Instead, they coolly assess each piece of input, filtering it through the lens of their grand design and their professional expertise. They maintain a professional distance, allowing them to evaluate the merits of the suggestion without permitting emotional contamination to disrupt their vision or their workflow. This is the very essence of strategic detachment. When a critical comment or a negative judgment surfaces, instead of allowing it to immediately trigger an emotional cascade, anger, defensiveness, sadness, or self-doubt, you mentally step back. You observe your own reaction, acknowledging its presence but refusing to identify with it. This creates a vital space between the external stimulus and your internal response. This space is where your power resides. It is the milliseconds or moments where you choose analysis over absorption, where you prioritize preserving your mental equilibrium over engaging in an emotional tug of war. By consistently practicing this emotional distancing, you prevent criticism from becoming an energetic drain. Your mental power remains directed towards your objectives, your creative output, and your progress, rather than being siphoned off into cycles of rumination or emotional recovery. This discipline allows you to operate at peak efficiency, unburdened by the emotional weight of external judgment. The final, and perhaps most transformative, perspective on criticism is to view it not as a hindrance, but as a potent catalyst for refinement. While the initial impact of negative feedback can feel like a setback, the truly astute individual understands that within every critique lies a latent opportunity for accelerated growth and profound adaptation. This perspective elevates criticism from a painful experience to a valuable asset, a powerful force that can propel you forward with increased precision and efficacy. Think of it as a rigorous feedback loop, essential for any system designed for continuous improvement. Without external input, without the occasional friction or challenge, stagnation is the inevitable outcome. Criticism, when approached with a disciplined mind, serves as a high-fidelity sensor, revealing blind spots that your internal perspective might never detect. It can illuminate areas where your message is unclear, your execution is flawed, or your strategy needs recalibration. These are invaluable insights, delivered often at no cost, which you can then leverage to sharpen your skills, refine your methods, and fortify your approach. This process of leveraging criticism for growth is an active choice. It requires the humility to acknowledge that you do not possess all knowledge and the courage to confront potential deficiencies. It demands that you take the raw data, dissect it for utility, and then consciously integrate the actionable insights into your future actions. Every time you identify a valid point of critique and adjust your course, you are not merely reacting, you are intelligently evolving. You are becoming more resilient, more adaptable, and ultimately, more formidable in your pursuit of your objectives. This continuous cycle of receiving, dissecting, and integrating feedback transforms potential roadblocks into launch pads, ensuring that every encounter with criticism, regardless of its source or intent, contributes directly to your ongoing mastery and accelerates your journey toward unparalleled success. The power to transform your relationship with criticism resides entirely within you. It is a mastery born from deliberate practice, a fortress built brick by brick with every conscious choice to dissect rather than absorb. Step forward, armed with this profound understanding, and unleash your true potential, unburdened, unwavering, and unstoppable.